Warning! Do not attempt the toy distraction you see in this video at home. Leave this sort of work to the professionals.
Hello my lovely audience, time for some dark side nonsense. We're going to take a look at Disney cars again. I don't know what episode I'm up to. This box looks very impressive, doesn't it? It's there saying buy me, but by the looks of it, the toys inside don't look very good at all. And if you're wondering, this knockoff playset cost $35. Time for a bit of unboxing, and this playset was purchased at the same dark side store as that Tommy Level Crossing Thomas the Tank playset. If you remember that one, it's quite an amazing playset. But one wonders what is going to come out of this box here. Well, okay, there is some plasticky bits here. There, so that's the levels of this parking station thingo. There's some ramps bits here. It's quite a large scale. It's much larger than, let's say, Hot Wheels scale. There's all sorts of other little bits of plastic down here. I'm trying to find where are the instructions to build this? Where do I? Oh, here we are. Oh no. Okay. That is the instructions. It's quite elaborate, isn't it? And there's a whole bunch. What a nightmare of stickers here to put onto this knockoff playset. The toy cars. Here we've got Lightning McQueen. Okay, we've got Sally. I hope I'm getting these names right. I'm not crash hot on Disney Cars Mater. It feels cheap and nasty. And we have the King here. Come on, the King, show us your face. Yes, there's other weird aspect to this that I'll get onto later. And there was also, let's not forget, the helicopter, which is just a Bell Jet Ranger style helicopter. Who knows? Well, this knockoff toy is quite the build. There are actually 3 sticker sheets, and I dare say the stickers would actually make this look half decent. I don't even think I'm going to bother with these stickers because it's almost pointless. The other thing I'd like to note is that the plastic has got this greasy feel to it. I'd hate to think of the factories that this stuff comes out of, and this is the road system. And when I saw it, it reminded me of something else that I've seen. It would be a knockoff of something else that is a normal licensed toy, I'm sure. But if you recognize that system there, let me know. It's actually quite large scale. It reminds me of, I've seen it before. I'm sure I've seen it before in a licensed toy. Okay, well, after about 20 minutes of stuffing around with some very, very shoddy sort of plastic, because it really is an inferior build, I built this 3-story car park up, and I'll give the elevator a bit of a spin here. Taking the Faco Lightning McQueen up to the top level, and I can show you some of the weaknesses of this toy, I hope. Taking him back. And then if you try to drive him down the ramps here, it sort of doesn't do anything. So to me, these toys here have just been mismatched with this other toy. Nothing really makes any sense. Nothing really plays very well. And it's very, very typical dark side. Supposedly this area here is like a washing area, and they've put foam there to replicate those great big things that would brush cars. But even then, when you put the cars through here, they don't come anywhere near those rollers. Again, it just feels like a mismatched toy. That area there is like a hoist, but part of the plastic broke on the back when I tried to install that, so that's totally useless. There is a piece of road here that doesn't really connect to the playset at all. It's like a random bit of road. And I got some real cars wheelies here. These are real legitimate toys, and I put this on the playset, and I think this is what this playset is more scaled to, if that makes any sense. But even then, the cars really don't play on this either. But to me, that's the scale of car that should be on this track, not this nightmare little McQueen that you see there. I know it probably looks half decent on screen, and if I had stickers all over it, it's going to look even more impressive, but I'd like to let you know that there's all bits of sharp plastic on this. The toys don't really marry in with the playset. It really is a botched job, and there isn't much fun when you're playing like this, and children just get frustrated when, oops, toys don't work that well. Take a look at these nasty knockoff cars. They've got these rolls in the front here which really don't marry in with that playset. It is very strange and bizarre. Obviously these would have had a motor or something in there. You can see there's an area for an on-off switch. It would have taken a AAA battery. There would have been some sort of power source in this. There's nothing in there. They're just bare bones. So it's like the knockoff of the knockoff. It's the lowest of the lowest end. And it's just those toys that just bits break off so easily and would become choking hazards. That is the problem with this stuff, okay? Really, really dangerous stuff. So easy to find in the city of Sydney where I live. This is Sally. I hope it's Sally. I know you'll correct me if I'm wrong. Again, it would have been a powered model in something else, but you don't get it here. Here is Mater. You know, I know people would get confused and say, well, Leo, it looks half decent, but you've really got to shake that out of your head, because these are deadly toys in the way they so easily break apart, and in the end they give no satisfaction. And I'm always saying this, always, okay? And we'll take a look at Lightning McQueen, and very bizarre, I think very freakish smile on that. I think that's the part that's going to really nab some people. You know, some people probably collect this sort of stuff, and in a comical sense, yeah, I can see the funny aspect to it, but if you had a small child playing with this, the next thing it's in their mouth, next thing they're choking, next thing they're in hospital, and sadly, maybe next thing they're dead, it doesn't become very funny at all. Oh, I almost forgot, there is also the helicopter. I said Bell Jet Ranger, I don't think it is now. Now I look at the way the tail is done and the overall design, I think it's something else. It's got a very Sicker Friday windscreen, I know that. But it's classic dark side nonsense. No fun in that little plastic helicopter at all. Rumour has it there's a mad bomber getting about, and one by one these knockoff cars are gonna die. Helicopter came flying in, only to find it was the first victim. That's a nasty way to lose your parking spot. The helicopter explosion was so intense, the king was blown down to a lower level, and not even he was safe staying there. Oh, watch out, that parking spot's about to expire. Elvis has left the building. Sally watched parts of the king rain down in front of her, but there was nothing she could do. Don't try and start your car, the bomb's connected to the ignition. Oops, obviously my advice is a little bit late. Lightning McQueen tried to jump clear to avoid the bombings. Obviously, this is a very dangerous place. Well, McQueen, you normally go ka-chow. Oh, McQueen, something silenced you. I didn't hear a ka-chow. All I heard was a mighty big boom. And then there was one. Mater all alone in the wash bay. He should be quite used to carrying a bomb. Hey Mater, think of the positives. You might get a new headlight after the blast. Oh, sorry, Mater. No new headlight this time, but we will give you the lead role in Cars 3. You know what it's called? Wrecking Crew. And you'll be the lead. So we're coming for a bit of a post-blast analysis, because we are learning something here, aren't we? We're not just having fun blowing things up, are we, boys and girls? No. A bit of a story behind Mater. He got blown up twice. The first time, when I was retreating, I actually pulled one of the cameras down, and one of the blasts blew that off, and the second one, or sort of damaged that. I don't know which one you'll end up seeing in this video. Maybe you'll see both if you're really lucky. And the cars were not ripped apart like that. I've had to break them open. They were fairly resilient to the blast. What I was finding was something like that, if that makes any sense. And I just sort of pulled them out to be a little bit more artistic. As for this multi-level car park playset, it didn't take much to put some major cracks in here. That's just done by those little charges that I got in the cars. And there's another break here, and I think that just shows you what we're dealing with here. It's just cheap and nasty stuff. Well, it's nasty business. I think I'll have to come in and demolish this miraculous plastic car park, and I've got the perfect companion to do the job. His name is Mr. Hammer. Well, this should be a walk in the park, or should I say car park, for Mr. Hammer. Okay. Whoa! Woo! Well, that didn't last very long. Smashing work, Mr. Hammer. Once again, Mr. Hammer's handiwork has delivered a decisive and crushing blow to this toy. Once you start to see a few taps from Mr. Hammer, you start to realise just how low end this toy is. It's really, really shonky stuff. Just to give you a practical demonstration of how flimsy and ratty this plastic is in this set, if I just twist this up, that's what happens, okay? You don't actually get that sort of breakage from good quality toys. If I come in for a few extra taps, you'll see it break up even more. That's what you're dealing with. Complete and utter rubbish. Actually fun smashing this up. Yeah, I could do it all day long. So what's your thoughts about that miraculous playset now? Hey, have I showed you that it's not worth much chop? Well, I better pack it away and I might send it back to the person I bought it from and say, hey, it had a few manufacturing flaws in it and it didn't give much satisfaction. Would I be right in consumer law to send it back like that? Is that being fair? Oh, I better put the cars back where they belong. But I really do want to make and stress a point here that this stuff is not even worth dealing with. And remember, these toys are illegal knockoff copy clone toys. Well, our next adventure into the dark side comes via this remote controlled Lightning McQueen. It actually looks very impressive in box. There'd be quite a few people who'd be fooled by that box and the way that it's set up. Because I know the shop I picked this up at is basically like a dark side shop. $17 was what I paid. That's a bit low for a car like this. You'd probably be paying double that amount if it was a real toy. The back of the box looks like that. And it looks like there was also a Mater in this series. One peculiar aspect about this knockoff toy is it's lacking the jarring reeds that you will so often find on knockoff stuff. And that would so easily fool people because sometimes people are looking for silly reeds. And if I look underneath here, it all semi-looks legitimate, but there is one major piece of information missing. I'll just push our knockoff McQueen to this side for a moment and I will slide in some real boys which look absolutely fantastic. So that very deceptive Lightning McQueen there, the knockoff one next to the real Lightning McQueen. We'll take a look at this box and I will show you what hopefully will signal to us this is a real Lightning McQueen. Well, what I'm looking for under here is the copyright Disney Pixar. I also like to see that it comes from a reputable toy company which has held the Disney Pixar license. And on this box I can also see that I purchased it from a reputable retailer. So here's the knockoff with the extremely deceptive boxing, and it's all about tricking children and also tricking parents because some people just don't know. Definitely no copyright to Disney underneath there anywhere. The toy factory it comes from, well, if you can work that one out, please let me know. Elephant brand. Okay, and I know from where I purchased it from, it was a major haunt for these sort of knockoff toys. And what's probably gone on here, this is probably a direct rip clone of a real Lightning McQueen toy. I've actually got another real toy here which is about the same size. Mind you, this has got a lot more features going on here.
I am speed.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, the real toys will do that. I can tell you the knockoffs will never have features like that. But sometimes Disney don't help themselves. Because I'd like to show you how small the copyright information is on this Lightning McQueen. I think it's on the back here. Now, if you have a scan over this box, is it jumping up at you where the copyright material is? It certainly isn't for me. Well, there it is there, and there's my big finger. It's about 8-point writing, and if Disney want to protect themselves a bit more, they should make this much, much clearer and have some holographic symbols and stuff going on. Sure, this can be ripped off and it's so easily put onto a knockoff toy, but sometimes this is what people want to see just to make sure and give them that security that they're buying something legitimate. Well, let me come in and unbox this knockoff Lightning McQueen. I think it's the knockoffs like this that are most curious to me when they come in to be very, very close to the real toy and try to emulate the real toy. And I think that is also the most curious to my audience as well, because it tends to cause a lot of discussion. Okay, there is that knockoff McQueen. Okay, I've got a bit of unsnipping to do. It's actually packaged up even just like a real toy as well. That's got me a bit bamboozled. You often see these sort of keys in the bottom of real toys. This one would fool quite a few people, I'm sure. Okay, let's take a look over this very, very clever clone Lightning McQueen. This is one of the better clones that I've had come through. I think the first thing to point out would be the stickers. They're just, well, they're there, they look good, but they're just not put on correctly. Okay, they're all over the shop. They're leaching into the wheel arch here. The sticker on the bonnet here, or the hood, or whatever you call it, is not on correctly. That's the way it came from whatever factory. The painting on this is your classic dark side painting where it's not crisp. But because this toy has been ripped from one of the real Lightning McQueens, basically, you know, mold for mold, it's going to fool a lot of people. It really is. The box and the toy is quite amazing. And I think when we start to look at the tires as well, for the fact that they just come off so easily, I don't think you're going to find that on the real Lightning McQueen toys. And I think what I found underneath here, if I turn around the right way, apart from seeing Disney Pixar there, that is going to really set the cat amongst the pigeons. Another curious thing here, there's a charging area here. Like if you had rechargeable batteries in there, you could come along and looks like a charging port. Whether that is connected or whether that is just clone, who really knows? There'll be some Lightning McQueen expert out there who's far grander than me who'll be able to identify this rip for me. And then again, there'll be a whole bunch of other people who want to argue with me that this is actually a real Lightning McQueen, just sort of been booted out the back of the factory. Well, I think it's worth cracking McQueen open to take a peek inside. Don't worry, McQueen, this won't hurt one bit. Ooh, look in there. Well, here's under the shell. They've got a stop there, which is holding up that button that does nothing on McQueen. Well, I'll put my case forward to why this is a knockoff toy by looking at the inside. The first thing that I notice is the wires are a rat's nest. That is classic dark side. Coming in closer, this is the servo motor here. Take a look at the quality of the soldering joints, or should I say the lack of quality. It looks like a rush build. That's the main circuit board. Maybe someone out there can identify that for me, because I dare say it's just a generic piece, probably used across quite a few RC vehicles. The charging port is connected strangely, so you maybe could have put some chargeable batteries in this. Going up to the motor again, I think this is just a low-end generic motor. Once again, taking a look at how it's connected up, it doesn't look too good. And there is an El Cheapo switch down there, which is the main switch of this toy, and I've seen those over and over, and they fail really easily. Let's take a look at a real Lightning McQueen in the insides, and we will see something totally different. Well, this is the Dicky Toys Lightning McQueen. The first thing to notice is that I can't just pull the tires off this one, but I have opened it up, and you will see a totally different story going on inside this beautifully made toy. Noticing that the wiring is all down and contained. The soldering joints look pretty good as well. And seeing this is what I would typically find inside a toy, which is a licensed toy made from a reputable toy dealer. And if I sit this next to the other Lightning McQueen, then maybe we'll see chalk and cheese. Well, the black one's our very clever clone. It doesn't look too clever once you take the top off. And of course the red one is the lovely Dicky toy. Well, this knockoff Lightning McQueen is back together, and seeing the fact that it does have a charging area did take me back to the bottom of the box, and it does speak about this here. It shows a plug charger there. It wasn't in the box, but it talks about non-rechargeable batteries could not be charged, and I think that's a bit of a dark side thing, because it really should say should not be charged. And considering that's our only instructions with this knockoff Lightning McQueen, let me show you what came with the real Dicky toy Lightning McQueen. There's a beautiful set of instructions here. Goes into explicit details on how to battery it up, and then how to play with the toy, and it's in every language in the world, I can guarantee it. This toy didn't come with that, so as clever as this toy is, and it's a very clever one, it's a knockoff. Well, Faker McQueen takes 3 AA batteries, and even the battery covers and everything feel cheap and nasty, and this remote control feels really nasty. Everyone's happy now. This is forward, and McQueen's lights do come on. If I press it the other way, we will get backwards. Okay, the other one is of course the steering. It is not proportional, but that's normal with these sorts of toys. I have found a real Lightning McQueen, which I believe they have possibly ripped off to make this nightmare remote control one. If I sit that one right next to our Faker, ooh, what do you reckon, boys and girls? I think there's a lot of similarities going on between those two. For me, one key clue to indicate that this McQueen here, the real one here, is being used in the knockoff is this button on the top here. Okay, there's a button here in the knockoff one, and that button does nothing. And I think what they've done is they've basically cloned this real toy here to give us the body for the remote controlled knockoff nasty. I think this Lightning McQueen is a fantastic example of how much effort sometimes the dark side goes to trick and fool the consumers. Many people would struggle to tell the real from the fake just by looking at this. Because I can get in closer and have a feel of them, I know if you have a very close scrutiny of this, Lightning McQueen sticker there is actually on upside down. But when we start to play with this toy, I think that's when the dark side is going to really reveal itself. Well, the knockoff toy is in the foreground there. Up the background there is that Tyco real Lightning McQueen. This was an amazing toy. It was one that was picked up by the charity shop, and I showed this in a video, and I was doing spins and stuff on this table here. Very, very dynamic remote control toy. Bit of an older style toy. That was remote control with it. Now, if you remember that toy there, I'm going to see if this knockoff toy can do the same sort of performance. Let me get this table nice and slippery because I want to try and do the wheel spins that we saw with the Tyco McQueen. Okay, it's nice and slippery, I hope, and I will try and get some performance going here. And oh, I've got a bit of a wheel spin there, and I just can't get the same sort of stunts and play that I was getting with that Tyco McQueen. The other thing is happening is, yeah, you go to push buttons and nothing happens. Very dark side, nasty stuff. I think those front wheels are getting jagged up as well in the front fender area. No. Very lackluster, very annoying remote control, and I think the front tyre is actually coming off. Yeah, come on. God, you push the button one way and it wants to do something totally different. Welcome to the dark side. And maybe without steering it, we will get some performance out of this thing. With a bit of wheel spinning performance, that is. That is if the wheels stay on. Oh, this is a very, very, very strange and funny toy. Well, apart from the tyres that keep wanting to fly off, another big problem with this car is that if I turn it, particularly that way, listen to this. It's actually hitting on the car here, so that's actually acting like a brake on this car. I'm pretty sure it's the same on both sides if I turn it the other way. No, that wheel's free. It's this side here. Very, very nasty work, and I suppose we could come in and clean it up, chop that off there, and then we have a free wheel. We might get some better performance out of this nightmare car. As we're thinking, maybe it's going to work better if I just rip these tyres off and give it a spin. What do you reckon, hey? That might be some fun. Okay, one tyreless McQueen coming up. Oh yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, this is the fun, I think. Rip the tyres off and then we've got some real drifting action. Woo! I don't think I'll get a full circle out of it. Whoa, almost got the camera. Come on, McQueen, get away from that camera. Sort of stuck there. Go, go, go! Come on, McQueen, you can do it! Well, you are trying to impress me. You're actually more fun with the tyres ripped off. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to put the tyres back onto you, but I'm going to give you a very, very special sort of send-off. Well, I've set up a little challenge area here for Lightning McQueen. Let's see how good he is at dancing on fire. Well, let me give him a test drive here first before we light him up. Oh yeah, nice and slippery. Nice and slippery. Woo! Now let's give McQueen a bit of a challenge. Not looking so hot now at the moment, are you, McQueen? And we've lost RC function, although the wheels are still going. Totally lost the RC. Maybe I should have kept that one. It was quite an impressive knockoff. It's a bit late now. Oh, there goes the battery. toasted. Okay, Lightning McQueen, as you have never seen him before, one crispy critter. What I should do is box all this up and send it back to the Dark Side shop where I purchased it from and said, hey, your toy was faulty. Give me a refund. And to really confuse matters, I could put some unburnt tyres in there. That'll get them talking. Well, earlier in this video, I was unboxing this toy and now I am boxing it. Woohoo! There it is. Back in its box. Okay, here's our next knockoff Disney Cars toys. 3 cars, 3 different colours that look like Lightning McQueen. Let me pick up the red one because it's most probably the most relevant. Instead of 95, on top we've got 98. There's the general feel of Lightning McQueen and shape, but it's not a direct clone copy. I paid $8 each for these little clone cars. It just says made in China and a number down there. Complete rip-off, but more for the fact that I found it in a well-known shopping centre disturbed me. If I wind it up, we will see its silly little feature. Okay, it does that. Makes a lot of noise and pokes its tongue out at you and wriggles its eyes. And it also has something underneath here that changes its direction. If you can hear me over that racket. Some people probably see this little novelty toy as harmless fun. Sadly, I don't see it like that. Because in the end what you'll find is that this toy will not be built to a certain standard. I could probably manipulate this and rip something off fairly easily, just like that. And that is the problem with these knockoff toys. I'll try and demonstrate its driving for you. Okay, there it goes. It makes a bit of a turn and it has a stack. And if you're impressed by that, maybe it's time to see a doctor. Whoa! Well anyway, I've got a little friend who'll be able to send these toys to the place where they really belong. And his name is called Mr. Hammer. One of those cars is Mr. Hammer's favourite colour. And he's going to point out to you which one it is. Okay, my favourite colour is... That's weird, Mr. Hammer. You just smashed everything. Why? Because my favourite colour's black. Well, the strong hand of Mr. Hammer has certainly done some damage here, but I tell you what, it took quite a few blows to break these toys apart, and that tells us a bit of a material science story, doesn't it, boys and girls? Of course, these videos get flagged for fun. There's a spring inside these toys. That's part of the thing that when you wound up the toy, the energy gets stored in the spring. I'm hoping to be educational here, and then when you let the toy go, well, the energy in the spring gets released and it does its little thing. Not that it can do that anymore. I better move on to the next toy, and it'll be the final cliffhanger toy in this episode. It is this set here, and it is quite an unusual set for one very important particular reason. Okay, this set of cars here, obviously Disney cars in there. I can see Mack truck. I can see a strange green racing car in here. I don't know what that is. The World of Cars Diecast mini car series, Hudson Hornet piston cup here. Lightning McQueen there, nice picture of Lightning McQueen there. It would deceive a lot of people if they saw that in the shops. It would interest a lot of children as well. Costs $14.99, call that $15. The back looks like that. It is a complete see-through box, which makes it a little bit unusual. And we'll take a read of the end of the box here. That read there, it says the best welcome gift for children. If that wasn't on there, it would make for a far more convincing knockoff toy. Along the top of the box, that's the artwork there. It says Supercars, and again looks knockoff, $14.99. There is the king, and on the bottom of the box, it looks like that, and that is very, very typical of what you'll see on knockoff toys. Coming in for the unboxing, and when we take a closer look at these cars, I think you're going to get a bit of a surprise to how different they are to the usual low end gear. It's a very curious mix of Disney Cars characters here. The bodies are die-cast, believe it or not, and there's a few other surprises amongst these cars. Let's take a closer look. And the first one we're going to take a look at is Mack. Now the first thing I'll say about this is that this isn't the lowest of the low end knockoff stuff, and I can actually bring in another toy that I purchased at Kmart, which is actually sort of similar. That's like a $3 generic toy in Kmart. Plastic back, die-cast front. Okay, I've got to make that similarity there to show you sort of the same scale. The SWAT one's a bit bigger, but Mac here, the plastic part on the back is the low end of this. I think I can separate the to the. Oh well, I can break it away. Welcome to the dark side. See, it even talks. Let's take a closer look at this prime mover. Well, I don't think this is actually Mac. This is just a generic toy that they've gone and dressed up with a car's trailer. That there, well, there you go. Another welcome to the dark side just comes off, doesn't it? I suppose the exhaust pipe here will just rip off or bust off. Yeah, it's just rubbish toys. But then again, if I bring in our SWAT team thing here, I could pull this off here. And what you'll notice is it's also just rubbish toys. But I bought that at Kmart Australia. I don't know why they dabble with this sort of rubbish. It's sort of sad, isn't it? And now it's destroyed. And as strange as it sounds, this is actually a bit of a tougher toy. I'm having a lot more trouble breaking this versus that other toy that I purchased from Kmart. I will take a look at the next toy, and it is this one out of the box. I don't think this has anything to do with the car's story. It's just a car that they've thrown in. Generic Chinese car. And die-cast top, plastic bottom. Let me choose another one out of this cars, all sorts. Okay, I have plucked out the Hostile Takeover Bank car. I'm not sure whether this is a rip from a Cars toy, a real Cars toy. I thought the car looked a bit different to that. I'm sure the audience will tell me. It is die-cast top, plastic bottom. As amazing as this sounds, it's actually got rubber tyres. That's something normally afforded to ritzier sort of toys. Unusual to see it on a dark side knockoff toy. Maybe you've got a few words to say about this one. The next car we'll take a look at is, reaching over, the King. It actually looks half decent. Has it got a little face on the front? Well, is that tongue sticking out or something? I think that's the way the King looks. Yeah. Like I said, this isn't the lowest of the low. Once again, we've got rubber tyres, die-cast top, plastic bottom. And I'm sure the audience will have something to say about these cars. Who will we pick out next? We'll pick off Sheriff, I think. Sort of unusual to see this in the knockoff realm for the fact it's more of a, I call it a backgroundy sort of character, not a major one. The painting on it's a bit dodgy, brothers. Once again, rubber tyres. I think that's the shape of the Sheriff. Okay, plastic bottom. Yeah, it's not the lowest of the low, but I keep saying that. Maybe you can see that. Put it this way, Mr. Hammer would probably have trouble getting rid of these guys. Is this Sally? I'm pretty sure that's her look. I should go and check before I make a fool of myself, shouldn't I? Got a little mouth there and everything. I dare say this has been ripped off a real toy somewhere. I wonder if it's been ripped off the Diecast series. Let me go and grab one, see if that's right. Rubber tyres. Yeah, it's very, very curious. Well, here are my real Disney Cars die-cast toys. These are excellent toys. I used these way back in that Piston Cup 500 playset. I looked at one of the best toys that I ever showed on my channel. And I'll try and find Sally. I'm sure she's under here somewhere. Okay, let's make a comparison between that one and that one down there. Well, the bunny hole's starting to get deeper. That's the knockoff Sally. I've just noticed they got a pullback action, so they got little motors inside them. The wheels on the knockoff Sally are actually a little bit larger than the real Sally. I think the bodies have just been, one's been ripped off the other. In fact, that one there is basically a clone of that one there. And I say that because of the smile on the front. Okay, sure, the rear vision mirrors are a little bit smaller on the knockoff, but when they were doing a knockoff clone and doing a mold, they wouldn't be worried about the details like that. But nearly everything else on the car, there's the real one there, and if I go across to the knockoff there, all of the line work and everything really is matching up, and that's the scary aspect to it. Of course, the real Disney Cars Sally is lovely details to this. They really are great toys. It doesn't have rubber tyres. It would be a fantastic toy car, die-cast car, if it had rubber tyres. But as we know in the toy industry, things like that cost money, but this knockoff, as silly as it sounds, has got that feature. Okay, so that is a very, very similar clone to the real Disney Cars toy, which is sort of a little bit scary. So Sally seems like a very clever clone, but if I go back and look at the King, that's the real King there. It's a fantastic toy versus the knockoff. I don't know, something's gone terribly wrong there with the knockoff King. Next is Tow Mater. All the details of the back here look correct, although that piece has come adrift. The eyes are freaking me out. So is that mouth. Lacking the detail of the missing headlight. It usually is painted up on the real toys. I don't know whether this has been ripped off a early version of the Diecast or something I don't know about. That is the Diecast series that I know. It's actually a slightly larger model than the knockoff there, but looking at the back details there, they look very similar, don't they? Very strange knockoffs indeed. Very strange for the fact they've gone to a lot of troubles in some areas and sort of left out other areas totally. And yes, Mater does have a pullback action, but you would have thought they could have made him go backwards because that's one of the big features he has. Let him go over there. Our next person and last one is Lightning McQueen. Okay, here's Lightning McQueen. You're probably saying, well, Leo, it doesn't look too bad. The dyed cast metal top, rubber tires, plastic bottom. If I bring in a real Lightning McQueen, this is not a direct rip. This knockoff one is actually wider. I don't know if you can see that clearly, but it's actually a different mold. Like they haven't come along and just cloned this car here. This is something else. Mind you, I have seen lots of little die-cast Lightning McQueens all by themselves. Quite often they are dressed up and they look really pretty. That's what this one's sort of missing. It's missing those little details that really make it shine like Lightning McQueen. As for a toy, you know, I know you'd be saying, well, Leo, it looks pretty good and all the rest of it, and it looks fairly robust. I tell you what, I know that this is going to end up failing. This is never going to be as robust as the real toys. I don't know if I could just manipulate it. Look, there you go. It takes nothing to pull a wheel off this thing. Nothing at all. That's what's dangerous about these toys. So that becomes a choking hazard, and this becomes something you can go and poke yourself with, and that is the real danger of these toys. I just really want to make that point very clear because a lot of people come in and say, well, these look like half-decent toys. Believe me, this is absolute rubbish. So tell me your thoughts about these knockoff diecast Disney Cars toys, and also leave a suggestion to how we should destroy these. I'm just weeding out a couple of nasty trolls on my channel at the moment. I think Mr. Hammer would struggle destroying those toys, and so would Mr. Blender. Doesn't leave many options, does it? Anyway, I better leave this video. As always, thanks for watching, and bye for now. Mater, you can't back out of this one. The tyres have just come off. Oh yeah, nice and slippery. Nice and slippery. Woo! Okay, there it goes. Oh, that's gonna crash.